Thank you, my Lord, for my seat at the table. In your mighty kingdom will I, as I hold on to my treasures, so that nobody can take my crown in heaven. As I stay dressed, ready for service, with my lamp burning, and my oil burning, and my shield up, as I extinguish the flaming arrows of the enemy, so that you can light your arrows of victory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Trujillo, and this is my story. I was born June 8th, 1987, here in Pueblo, Colorado, and I lived here almost all my life, except for the few years that I went to Denver to work for the Broncos, and but most of my life I lived here. I went to school at Bradford, Heaton, East for a little while, Central for a little while. I was always involved in sports and things like that, and I had a real good childhood. My parents are Charlene Trujillo and Kip Trujillo, and I have one brother. His name is Ted, and I got my son LJ. When I was young, I got in two really bad accidents as a kid. I have a really bad cut right here on my forehead that my uncle was cutting weeds with like a weed whacker, and I happened to come up behind him. He didn't see me, and it caught me. Whew. And it caught me right on my forehead, and that was the first time I had a real bad accident, and for some reason I wasn't the same after that, and I guess that's kind of when you could say I developed the speech thing, and I even developed like a weird sense into like the spirit realm, like like there's a lot of things that I see or hear that I shouldn't probably hear or see. When the cut happened, I was probably less than like 5 years old. Probably less than 5 years old. And then after a while, we got a dog. I named him Snoop Dogg. And we had a dog, and I bought the dog from a friend of mine. And when I bought the dog, he was having like a yard sale or garage sale too. So I bought this poster with like dogs shoot and pull. It's like in like a bunch of old school rap videos. It's like there's like 6 dogs and they're shoot and pull. Okay, while Mr. Smith, he must have came with the poster, with the cloth, with the material. He must have came with it, because ever since then, I've always had it in my room, and he was always there. He would appear to me, talk to me, show me things, this and that, and and it was just like he was just always around, and it seemed like he was trying to help me in some area, but then it seems like he was like trying to get me into all kinds of trouble and stuff like that. And it wasn't like witchcraft or anything, because I didn't even do any of that kind of stuff. But he was just around, and he was there with me everywhere I went. And things would always like shatter around me, like glass, mirrors, things like that would always like shatter around me. And I always kept that thing, that drawing or the thing all my life. I kept it all my life until one day I was down on my luck and I wanted to get some stuff, so I sold it to somebody, and he left with it. And that's when I knew that he was attached to that thing. So therefore, the person bought it and left, he left too, and I've never really seen him again, But maybe something stayed with me. That's why I was so bad still, and the demons and stuff. And it's always been like that with me all my life, and maybe somehow it opened up to the bad spirit realm, and maybe that's what something came into me, and it just took over myself, my life, and everything. That's why I was so bad. That's why I didn't want to listen, because the spirits inside of me were treating me like that. So my mom took me to the doctor. They put me on a medication called Ritalin. And my mom said that's what probably jacked me all up. And then when I was growing up a little bit more, I was on my bike, and I fell off Sugarloaf on the east side. The big hill over there on Sugarloaf on the east side. I was right on my bike, messing around with my friends and family and stuff, and I hit it like a rock or something. I flew it through the air, and I hit my head. My first couple of teeth right here are fake because I got hurt. So and maybe that also did something to me. And just I've always had a hard time, So and then throughout school, I always had to go to like special classes, and like they put me out of class to go to the special eds class thing, so I could talk to a speech therapist. And all through my life, I always had to go to a speech therapist, and I didn't want to. I felt uncomfortable. I was kind of embarrassed. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be that kid, So, and then I just couldn't comprehend things, and in the fifth grade I got held back, and in the ninth grade I got held back twice. So I've always had a hard time in school because of my disability. So it made it hard for me to like comprehend things and learn things. So school was very hard for me growing up. But I always did try my best, and I just I wanted to do good in my life, but I couldn't figure out my groove growing up in life. So I just kind of did what I did, I tried to play football and things like that, and because of my grades, I couldn't really play anymore because you gotta have good grades to play sports and things like that. So I got a job when I was like 15. I worked at the college. I was a dishwasher. My parents did raise me up good. They did a good job with me, but I was prideful, and I didn't want to pay attention to anybody or listen or obey or follow instructions, or I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. And it was really a hard time for me. I had to experience life in a different way that not too many people want to experience it. My parents did do a really good job with me, and I'm grateful for them each and every day that they have let me come home and be with them, and just grow and stuff on my journey. And by the time I would have graduated, I would have been like 21 years old, and I didn't feel like graduating at 21 years old. So I dropped out of school, and that's when I got more involved in drugs and things like that. I quit playing sports, and it was just really, it was really tough on my, it makes it really tough for me to talk, because, and that's why I didn't want to talk, because it was hard for me to talk. And they died, and they said, that I have a problem. My mom kept trying to tell the doctors no, that there was nothing wrong with me, but we all knew that there was something, so, and and then after a while, I quit going to the doctors, I quit going to school, I quit doing all that stuff, and I just started trying to live my life, and that's when I got involved in drugs, and everything just went the way that it. And I've been in 2 relationships. I've been married twice. My first relationship was really good. We were together for about 12 years, and we lived here for a little while. We lived in Denver, and we just kind of grew up together since we were young, into our 20s, and we just wanted to, to grow up and experience life. But as we were experiencing life, We also got involved in drugs and things like that. I've always smoked weed. Ever since I was really young, I was like maybe 10, 11 years old, and I was always smoking weed. My parents knew I was smoking weed. I didn't want to take pills, so I figured maybe smoking weed would help me more than my speech. So obviously, it kind of seemed like it did, but it didn't. And like they say, marijuana is a gateway drug. So I've always smoked weed ever since I was really, really young. And weed was, and that's how I was all the way till I was like 15, 16. And then I got involved with coke and meth, and I was always smoking and snorting. That's what I did all the way till I was 20, all the way till I got saved. Smoking, snorting, and that's for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, coke, meth, and that's what our life was. That's what it was all year round, every day. It was October 30th, 2014. Because my son was only a year old, and mine and my first wife's relationship was after all these years finally falling apart because all I wanted to do was party, and all I wanted to do was drugs and all, and she didn't want to maintain a job because she thought I would be sleeping around with girls and this and that, and there's always friends at our houses and everything, and so our relationship was just going downhill really fast. One night, she attacked herself in front of all of us. She cut her neck with a knife, and we were all scared. The ambulance came. They picked her up. They took her, for a couple of days. She came back home. And we couldn't just. That was it. My wife lost it. I was tired of it. We were just, So she put a propane tank in the oven, and she set the house on fire. And she put all the couches in front of the door and the back door, and she had it all locked up, so we couldn't get out. And the house got really smoky, and we haven't slept for like 3 weeks. We were up like slept like an hour here, hour there, but we haven't slept for like 3 weeks. So I was tired of partying. So I finally laid down, and that's when she did what she did. And I was so tired that the first time the smoke came in, I thought she was making something to eat because she was a really good cook, and she's always been a really good cook. So I thought she was making me something to eat. I didn't know she was setting the house on fire. So I passed out. And I woke up again, and the house was all smoky again. And like I was like, babe, what's going on? And she was like, just don't worry about it. I'm cooking downstairs. All right. So I fell back asleep again. And then the third time I woke up, and the house was really smoky, like covered in black smoke. And she was sitting on the edge of the bed, and my son was sitting on my chest, and he was crying, and I was like, LJ, what's wrong? And I go to touch his face, and I touch his face, and there was like this thick smog stuff stuck to his face, and I happened to look down on myself, and my white shirt was black, and I'm rubbing myself, and all this black stuff was on us. And she's crying in the corner, and me and Algie's crying on me, and I'm waking up out of the bed out of this deep sleep, and all of a sudden it's hot and it's smoky, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I run downstairs. When I run downstairs, the kitchen is just engulfed in flames. That's, So I run, as I'm fighting through the flames, and I run to go open the stove, and there's this propane tank. Because we smoke with a thing by my Walmart, like a little smoke, like those little green propane tanks. It was in the oven, and it was spinning in there, cherry red. The flames were on, and I'm trying to turn off the flames, and the flames wouldn't turn off. they're like the things, the little knobs. I was trying to turn out the thing, and it was too late. It was too late. The house was getting ready to blow. So I run all the way back upstairs. I'm yelling at her. I'm telling her what the heck is going on and this and that. And I was like, let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of here. She didn't want to get out of there. She was ready to go. The drugs and the bad stuff, pushed her to the point, Our relationship was falling apart. She didn't want to be without me, and she didn't want nobody else to have me. So she did it. She did it. And I ran to the table, and I grabbed my backpack, and whatever money, whatever things I had on my phone, whatever I had in my bag, I just swooshed it in to my backpack, put my backpack on. I picked up LJ, and I grabbed her by the hair, and we're running down the stairs, and I'm pulling her. She's fighting me, and I'm pulling her. She's fighting me, and we're coming down the stairs, and mind you, the whole front door is all blocked with all the chairs and couches and everything. So I'm trying to throw all the stuff I'm trying to throw everything out of the way, and try to get to the door, and the door's stuck, and I couldn't open the door, and I'm here pulling on the door, and we're fighting the door, and I'm watching the flames, and the algae is crying, and everything is just, I thought this was it. I thought we were gonna die in this house, in this apartment right here, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I put algae down for a minute, and I'm pulling on the door, and I'm pulling on the door, and I'm pulling on it, and I could just feel like the heat just getting, And I bust out the window. And my friend across the way, he's already he's on the phone. He's already calling the cops, And when we pull open I pull open the door, boom, and I grab her and I grab LJ and we run out. Within seconds after running out, the house said boom, and the whole corner of the house was gone. Boom, boom, and that's when I realized, like, dang, I pushed her to that point. I messed up really bad this time. I had to call my mom, and she came, and she was like, what the heck happened? What's going on? And she was in panic. And I told her what happened. I gave her LJ. Like, Mom, just take LJ and just go home. And if anybody asks, he's been with you all night, this and that. Take LJ, Mom, I told her. And she did. And the cops came, and they took my wife to jail, and I became homeless. And that's how it all happened. And then I was just so stuck in that rut of losing everything that I couldn't even get myself out. For 6 years, I was just stuck, homeless, and living in my car, and at friends' houses, and actually on the streets, and just, my life became what most people dread. Like, it became like the worst. It became the worst in my life. And it was just, I couldn't. And that's was it, and that's how it happened. That's how our relationship broke. Our relationship was torn apart by drugs. Drugs destroyed our life in a way that most people shouldn't have. Most people should not ever have to experience. Like, I wouldn't wish that on my enemies. It was bad, and we lost everything. I've been in one other house fire. I was cooking drugs in the stove, and I shouldn't have been. And I actually blew myself up. I had the propane, and I put the thing in. I know I put it in right, and I didn't. And boom! And the stove blew up, and my back hit the top of the refrigerator, and my skin was like all red and stuff. But my face didn't burn off. My facial hair didn't burn off. I didn't get like really bad burns. But before the fire went off, I heard a voice say, "Now you done did it, Lawrence." Right before the thing blew up, it said, "Now you done did it, Lawrence." And I said, "Did what?" Boom! And I hit the thing, and boom. But when I looked down, I was in like a golden purple, like a golden bluish glow around me. Something was protecting me. The Lord was protecting me way before I even knew He was protecting me, And I've been in a bad car accident one time. I almost got shot in the head over drugs. Bad drug deal went bad. I put myself in a lot of bad spots in my life. I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot through life, and because I was because like when you're on drugs and things like that, bad spirits get to you, demons get to you, wickedness gets to you and brings you down and makes you feel low and makes you feel ashamed and you feel guilty and all this stuff that comes along with drugs is not good. It and I just never learned to grow out of it. I couldn't figure out a way to shake shake the badness off me. And I've been since the time I was 26 to the time I was 32. I've been back and forth and in and out of jail at least 10 times in my life. Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo. I've been in and out of jail a lot in my life, and I never even thought about asking the Lord for help, because I felt so down on myself that I didn't think anybody wanted me or anybody could help me or anybody could show me the right thing to do in life. So it was really hard. It was really hard, and I couldn't make it work with my first wife. I couldn't make it work with my second wife, and I just, I was getting ready to give up. I was just gonna let whatever happen. If I die today, if I die tomorrow, I was willing to lay my life down for absolutely nothing. I was willing to lay it all down for absolutely nothing, for no reason, for no point, for nothing, because that's what comes with gangs and drugs like that. People just, they make bad decisions and bad choices, and I'm thankful that the Lord rescued me before I made any more bad decisions, any more bad choices, And in the last year of my relationship with my second wife, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like starting to push myself away from like doing bad stuff, and everybody was like, "Oh, Lawrence, let's go get in trouble. Let's go do this. Let's go to the stores and let's go do this." I was like, "Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to." I was just giving up, and slowly but surely, and like my wife, she just was all about always trying to cause trouble, cause problems. So I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. I was done with that stuff. I was done, and I felt like something pulling me to better myself, because I was sitting in my car one night and I was like, there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something better than this. And I just started to just let things go. I stopped getting into trouble while trying to better myself, and I was going broke. I was even more homeless, and I was living on the streets, and I lost my car again, and I had to restart over. Every time I went to jail, all 10 times I had to go to jail, I had to start all over again because I lost everything. Every time. But every time I came out, I just knew something like, well, it's going to get better this time. It's going to get better this time. But it'd be good for a minute, and then I'd get back into more trouble, and this and that. And it wouldn't I just couldn't get myself out of the hole. Like, I'd go to jail, try to get clean and stuff, or get out, and I'd fall right back into the same thing, the same pit, because I kept falling in. Because I was falling in the wrong people. I was trying to be a part of a group I shouldn't have been a part of, and thinking gangs were cool and stuff like that. And it wasn't where I wanted to be. So I tried my best to try to get away from all that stuff. And everybody was mad at me, and I already had everybody all mad at me. I burned every bridge in my life, even bridges that weren't even mine to burn. I burned them. So I couldn't deal with it anymore, and I had nobody to turn to. Everybody, I had nobody to turn to. So I was about to give up. I was about to give up, and after all the things that my parents have tried to tell me and try to show me, I didn't want to pay attention to anybody. I felt I was letting my pride get in my way, which I had nothing to be prideful about, But because I grew up good, I grew up kind of spoiled, and I took advantage of that. So, and that's what I took advantage of that, and I used it for bad, and eventually I ended up with absolutely nothing. Eventually I ended up with absolutely nothing, and it was pretty hard. It was pretty painful to sit there with absolutely nothing. I had nothing to show for nothing, and all the years that because all the years I was drug dealing and all this stuff, I had nothing to show for it. Everything got taken from me, stolen from me, and you reap what you sow. If you sow bad stuff, you're going to get bad stuff back. So. And it was just a painful ride there for like the first 32 years of my life. It was pretty painful, trying to deal with drugs and trying to maintain a relationship, and then I had kids, and it was just I was underprepared for what life was going to throw at me, So, but it was pretty tough, and that's what my life was becoming. I had no hope. I had no strength. I had no sense of direction. I had nothing to do with my life. I was sitting, smoking every day, and that's what my life was. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drugs, whatever, and I was ready for that life to be over with. So, after all this has been going on for throughout my life, I finally was on my way to go do some bad stuff, and at a place I shouldn't have been even at, and that's when I came in contact with the Lord, and He gave me direction on my life. He gave me direction without me even knowing it. I thought, here I am, I'm going to jail again, losing everything again, and I thought, and by this time, I figured, I'm done. I'm going to prison forever. They're going to find out all this stuff that I'd done. I had warrants and all this stuff. I was like, this is probably the end of the line for me. So I saw they arrested me at a store I shouldn't have been at. They were already waiting for me when I got to the store. At the store, they watched me for a little while. They already knew I don't know how long they were watching me, but they already knew where I was going. There was already cars there. I didn't even see nobody when I walked into the store. I didn't see nothing. I was in there, and I went out and I was buying whatever I was buying, plus putting things in my pocket. The girl was like asking me weird questions, and I didn't catch it. And then I was like, okay. And then I was ready to walk outside the door, and this big old cop comes in. And he's like, Mr. Trujillo, you're not supposed to be in here, right? And I was like, and I just turned around and I started running through the store, and he came around, and the cops were already on the other side. I was running back and forth through the store trying to get out, and then this big old cop, he just kind of just jumped on me, boom, took me down, and they patted me down, and they took all my stuff out of my pockets, and, oh, Lawrence, you're charged with this for stealing that and stealing this, and even the thing that I actually paid for, they wrote down that I stole it. I had the receipt and everything. The one thing that I did pay for, out of everything that was in my pockets, he said that they put that there stolen too, and everything. And the cops just like, Lawrence, is your last straw. So and I went to jail that last time, and the charges that they had on me, it looked like a receipt that you get from Walmart. It was like 15, 20, 30 charges on there. It was like this long. And they were like, all right, Lawrence, well, once you're done here, you got to go to Colorado Springs. You got to go to Denver. You got to go here. I was like, oh, man. And they had all these charges on me, and so I figured like, oh, I'm not getting out, and I'm probably not, and so I end up in there in jail here in Pueblo, and then after they organized everything, I was here for a couple of weeks, and they sent me up to Arapahoe County in Denver. That was where my big charge was at for drugs. So they sent me up there first, so they could deal with me first, because that's state stuff. So they had to take care of that case first, and so I went up there around the beginning of September 2019, and I met with the judge, and they wanted to send me to prison, and I didn't want to go to prison, so I didn't take the first deal, and if you don't take the first deal, the deals get a little bit better. The longer you stay in there, it's like that's how that thing works. So I didn't take the first deal. I didn't take the second deal, and it was all ready. Been a few weeks, and I was writing my parents and writing family and friends and trying to see if anybody would come and put some money on my books, or ask my mom to come and get my property. I'll try to call people, and everybody was just mad at me. Nobody wanted to help me at all. Everybody was trying to give me discipline in their own way. Like, you're finally in there, now you're gonna get, we want you to get better, Lawrence. We want you to change. We want you to, so we're going, and nobody wanted to help me out with anything. So, I always call my mom and say, Mom, I really need you to come and get my property, so I can have some money in there, and you can put it on my books and stuff. And she didn't want to. She didn't want to, and my friends didn't want to come put money on my books. Everybody was hurt with me. Everybody was upset with me that I did what I did, and caused everybody so much pain in their lives, and took advantage of every opportunity that I had in a bad way, and so there I sat. I couldn't bond out because my bond was too high, and I just couldn't believe that I was there again. Plus, I had no help. Plus, nobody wanted to help me. It really broke my heart, and it really opened my eyes to, like, man, I must have really screwed up this time around. So I was in there, and I wasn't getting no money on my books. Nothing was happening. So I just, I spent a lot of time on my bunk and just thinking about over things and stuff. And a few weeks went by, and I met these two guys are my friends. One was named Mr. Freeman, and the other one was and his name was Mr. Bruno. And us three just kind of clicked up right away. We started talking to each other and stuff. And Mr. Freeman, he took like a special, like, kind of interest in me. He told me that how he was a pastor in Texas, and things like that. He came to Colorado. He got in trouble because something involved with his church. Something happened. He attacked somebody. I don't know his whole story, but he took a very special interest in me, and he was very polite, very nice. And I was like, how could you get into trouble? How could you hurt somebody? He was, I don't know. They said, he was telling me all this stuff. So we were just sitting there talking, and he told me that the Lord, He really likes you. He's taking a special interest in you, and I didn't know what He was telling me. I didn't know how else to go about it. So I decided to sit with Him, and the first scripture He showed me was Matthew 6:33. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and live righteously, and He will give you everything that you need. And so, that was my scripture. So I read it, and then I went upstairs and I prayed and I asked God to like, to forgive my sins, and because He was also telling me more stuff like how to go about it. So I started to, okay, I was like, all right, I'll go try this, So I prayed, and I was really feeling in my heart like, Lord, I really need help. Otherwise, I'm gonna starve in here, I'm gonna starve in here, and I don't want to starve, well, all the years I was out there homeless and stuff, I was starving already. I was starving already. Yeah, I was out there starving already. Already. So I didn't want to starve. So I I prayed and stuff, and for a while there we were just kind of sharing food and with the things that we had, and he was teaching me some scriptures, and each day we get like every lunch we would get a sack lunch, a brown bag special, they call it brown bag special, and every lunch would come with an orange. Every lunch would come with an orange, and I used to always give my oranges away, and he told me, he's like, hey, don't be giving away all your oranges. I was like, why not? I'm not gonna eat an orange. And he's like, one day you're gonna need that orange. And I was like, I'm not. I like it's good fruit and stuff. I want soups. I want chips or something. And he's like, Lawrence, don't be giving away your oranges because your lips are gonna fall off. I said, my lips are gonna fall off. How are my lips gonna fall off if I don't eat an orange? And all my life, all this time, I've always pondered what he was telling me. I was like, how am I not gonna have an orange make my lips fall off? So I've always just kind of kept it on my heart. Still giving away my oranges, but keep keeping it on my heart. And then so for weeks there, while he was still there for a few weeks, he kept showing me some scripture. We were walking around, we were doing our thing, we were sharing food, and we were just taking it one day at a time, reading the Bible and stuff, and then here's me, Mr. Freeman, and Mr. Bruno, and it was us three. We'd eat together, we would hang out together all night until they told us we couldn't hang out anymore. They make us go to our separate cells and things like that. And our cells were right next to each other. Up there, it's called a cave because it's not really like an enclosed cell, but it's like you have kind of like some freedom. So it's called a cave. So there's Mr. Freeman was on one side of the cave, and Mr. Bruno was on the other side of the cave, and I was in the cave in the middle. So we would still talk to each other and stuff like that. Stand at the edge of the things and talk all night till we couldn't keep our eyes open anymore, and then we do it again the next day, and then the whole time that this is going on, I'm always thinking about why should I keep the orange? What's the orange going to do? And and I didn't really tell anybody anything or so. It was getting time for like all of us to go to court. We all get ready to go to court, and my attorney comes in and talks to me and tells me that most likely I'm probably going to prison, and and that's if I so I and then unless I take this deal or something. So I went to court that next time. I didn't take that deal either, so I stayed in there again, and it's already been like 3 or 4 weeks already, and I was really pressing in to the Lord. I was really pressing into the Lord. I was trying to figure out a thing to get going, and then I started getting sick. I started getting sick, maybe not having food, maybe withdrawal, maybe just something. I started getting really sick. So I was talking to Mr. Freeman. I was like, "There's something wrong with me." He's like, "Well, he's like," I was just trying to explain to him, and he's like, "You know what, Lawrence? You're probably going through spiritual transformation now. Finally, that you're coming to the Lord." And I was like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yes." He's like, and he's telling me all this stuff before I even knew about stuff like that in the Bible. I haven't gotten that far yet. I just started reading the Bible for a couple of weeks, and but I was pressing into the Lord, and I was sick, and he was like, "Lord, you're going through a spiritual transformation." He's like, "It's coming. I was like, "What? It's coming." I was, oh man, I'm here all sick, laying on my bed, for like a whole week, I was fighting and turning and trying to stay focused on my reading with the Lord and just trying to fight whatever was going on with me. And then finally, this one night, I couldn't take it anymore. I was going through so bad of a withdrawals or changing in my body that like I was really sick. I was cold sweats and feverish and all of a sudden in the middle of the night I'm over there praying to the Lord like, please help me, Jesus, please help me through this, please help me through this. And then all of a sudden it happened. I'm laying there on the edge of my bunk, just kind of like looking up, and I'm looking at the lights, and the lights are like, to me it was like flickering really fast, and like I started like shaking and trembling. I could feel like my hands and my head just like I was going to explode or something. And then like all of a sudden there was nobody on the bunk atop of me, and all of a sudden I seen like this like golden glow come out of nowhere, and I'm reaching for and I remember reaching for the glow, and all of a sudden it happened. It was like a pulling and a tearing of my flesh apart from myself, and it was just something I never experienced. I thought I was dying, and I pull in it, and the lights are flickering, and out of the corner of my eye, I feel it, and it just pulls out of me, and it flings out of me, and it hits the wall, and it's like a little 3-foot creature type thing, and it grabs the towel off the side of the wall, grins at me, crawls over the wall, into the next cell, and busts out the light in the next cell over. Boom! And all the lights flickered in the whole complex, the thing that we were at. And as I'm laying there, I fainted. I fainted. And when I woke up the next morning, I couldn't believe what I saw. I was like, I didn't even think I was me anymore. I looked up and I wasn't sick. I felt good. I run to tell Mr. Freeman, tell Mr. Bruno. I was like, it finally happened. Something came out of me and it crawled over the wall. And it was really early in the morning. They both were like, oh. So they grabbed their blankets and they put them over their head. And I was like, something came out of me. And they're like, what do you mean something came out of you? I was like, something came out of me. It was like a creature. It looked like a gremlin. And it came out of me and it grabbed the towel off the wall and it crawled over the wall. And they were like, what? And Mr. Freeman, he couldn't even believe. He was like, it happened. It did it. Your transformation is complete. I was like, and he's like, and the first thing he says, like, so what's wrong? Like, you feel sick anymore? Do you feel better? Like, I was like, no. And I'm talking to him like clear as day. Like I'm talking right now, clear as day. And everybody was just looking at me like that me even stuttering or anything. Everybody was just like, something is different about you. They were like, what? Like, something is different about you. And I was like, I know. I was like, I know. And I was telling them all this stuff that happened. And they were like, they couldn't believe it. 5 of the 6 people in that next cell were different. After that, whatever came out of me went to the next cell. 5 of the 6 people that were in there, the only one that didn't get attacked or anything was Mr. Bruno. The other 5 people were different from where they were when they first came in. And the light in that next cell, the maintenance couldn't get it to turn on for days. So whatever was in there came out of me, went in the next cell, and the people in there were like all just not themselves, doing weird stuff. They had to be removed from the rest of the general population. And after that, 97 other people in the same dorm knew that I had changed. Because I was one day this way, saying the F word and bad and this. The next day, I had proper, I was speaking with proper English. I had knowledge. I had understanding. He turned my heart from stone to flesh, and I was just changed. I was changed miraculously overnight. Changed forever. I went to the bathroom that next day, And I was just looking in the mirror. I was like looking into like my soul, and I could see the pain gone. I could see it, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, well, something happened to me. All of a sudden, I could talk. All of a sudden, my ears were open to things around me. And I just started just doing my thing. I was changed forever after that. And Mr. Freeman, like 3 days later, he just watched me for like 3 days. He finally went to court, and he said, all right, Lawrence, I am done here. They said I could go home. They said they're sending me out of here. I'm done. My work here with you is done, he told me. I was like, what do you mean your work here with me is done? He's like, my work here with you is done. I thought he was an angel because he helped me to change. He seen the transformation change. After the change, he was like, okay, I'm done. They said I could go home. I'm leaving. So we stayed together for like a few more hours. And in the middle of the night, he was gone. I never saw him again, and that's how it happened. I was changed overnight like that. And then but after that, I was still hungry and stuff. But the only thing I wanted to do was help others, pray, and make wine. Make wine. I wanted to make my wine before I even knew Jesus turned water into wine. Nobody ever told me that he turned water into wine. And I remember Mr. Freeman saying, don't throw your oranges away because you're going to need them one day because you want your lips to fall off. For weeks, I pondered it again. Like, I was like, this can't be what the Lord wants me to do, to make wine? To make wine from what? I was like, I don't have nothing to make wine with. And then eventually I started just accumulating all kinds of oranges. All kinds of oranges. I was just accumulating all kinds of oranges in there. Boom, boom, boom. One right after another, each lunch tray, whatever. I was accumulating all these oranges. And then finally, I befriended one of my other friends, one of my bunkies. His name was Mr. Anglin. And I didn't tell anybody this. And I was like, I asked him I was like, hey, bro, do you think it's possible we can make oranges into wine? And he was like, I don't know. Let's find out. And I was like, because me and him both had no food. We were hungry. We had no way to eat anything. So he's like, why not? I got oranges. You got oranges. And so I did. We did. We got a little trash bag and we peeled all the oranges. Our hands were so blistery and all cut up from squishing all the oranges by hand. We squished all the oranges, and we found a Mountain Dew bottle because the Mountain Dew bottle is kind of green. So we put it in there with 4 to 6 packets of apple jelly, 4 to 6 packets of sugar, and 4 to 6 Jolly Ranchers. Boom, boom, boom. We put them in there. We put them in the Mountain Dew 20-ounce bottle and hot water, and we started just to watch it and take care of it, and eventually it started to ferment, and it was pulling itself. The fruit from the juice was pulling itself out from the bottle, and we were turning our oranges into wine, and that's how we were able to eat because we started to trade our wine for food, and that's how we ate. So if the Lord could if the Lord could help, if the Lord could send ravens to feed Elijah out in the wilderness, why wouldn't he help me do this? The minute I found out that the Lord turned water into wine, my mind was blown. I was like, whew. The minute I surrendered to what he was asking me to do, the minute I trusted in him, the minute I obeyed and did it, he brought it to completion. And that's what I did. And that's what I do with everything in my life. I surrender, I trust, I obey, I do it, he does it. Into completion, no matter what it is. He used an orange to build my faith. When I had no faith, this was my step of faith that I had to take. Because I was already trying to help others in any way that I could around me. I was praying and stuff. And then all of a sudden I was doing this to turn the fruit into, when he said I was going to bear fruit, I didn't know I was going to really bear some fruit, So he did it for me. And Ever since that days later, well, but before that, during that week, my mom, I called my mom, and one of my friends wanted to talk to my mom. He was, and so I was like, all right. So he talked to my mom. He told my mom like all these nice things that I'm doing and this. He said, the one thing my mom remembers is that he said, Lawrence does not belong in here. Lawrence does not belong in here. He deserves to go home, you know. So my mom, without me knowing, she sent my dad up to finally get my property. She put the money on my books without me even knowing. I called her days later after that. I said, Mom, can you please come put some money on my books? And she goes, oh, you haven't checked. You haven't went to your you checked on the account, my account. I was like, you put money on my books. She's like, well, go check your account. All right, Mom, I'll call you later. Boom, hung up the phone, went to my account. And there was hundreds of dollars on my bank account, finally, so that I could eat food. I was like, what the heck? So I bought everything on the commissary thing, and I helped my friend out. I was helping others. I was doing this. The Lord opened up every door in my life so that I could start getting things done. And the Lord took this fruit to help me bear fruit in my life, for real, moving forward on my journey. And that's how I was saved. That's how I learned to trust. And that's how I learned to obey, through what he did through this orange and through Mr. Freeman, and just giving me a correction and how helping me change my life. After that, I started a little prayer group in there, and everybody knew I was changing. Everybody would, because at night, from where I was at, everybody could see, are you? You know, like sitting up there, whatever. Every night I'd be praying on my bed, this and that. I started a little prayer group, and I started, you know, people started coming to me asking for to pray over them so that they could go home. Because they know that they were coming to me like the days before they go to court. I'd be praying for them. You know, I'll put my hands on their shoulders, whatever, praying for them, you know, pray that I go home. The day came for them to go to court, boom, people were going home. And at that time, I didn't even realize, oh, like, cool, bro, you're going home, right on, cool, you're going home. I didn't know the Lord was working through me already. Boom, and people were going home. And before you knew it, the jail was getting emptied out. And the jail went from like 70, 80 people to 30, 40 people, and it was just, I'm sitting in there like, the Lord is doing something, and everybody was going home. You know, everybody was going home, and I was still in there just doing my thing. And my attorney finally came and said, all right, Lawrence, you've been here almost 100 days. You got, the judge said they're going to give you, the judge said they're going to give you 6 months, and you go home. I was like, the judge changed their mind? I'm not going to go to prison? And she goes, nope. Here's sign this right here saying you're going to do the 6 months. They're going to give you credit for 100 days. And you only got 75 or 80 days left. Boom. I said, all right. I signed it. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. And she said, well, when you're done, Colorado Springs is going to come in and hook you up. I was like, all right. And she said, well, there, in Pueblo, you got to go do your other stuff. I was like, all right, but I'll be done here. She's like, you'll be done here forever. This case is closed, done and over with. The minute she told me that case was going to be done, I was like, wow. So I finally got that. The Lord was finally opening the doors in my life after I obeyed to what He was asking of me to do. So, and that's what that's how I've always done everything in my life. I surrender, I trust, I obey. He does it, brings it to completion, and that's it. And so I stayed there, finished my time there. Colorado Springs came and got me. I went to Colorado Springs, and the process starts all over again. So I went to Colorado Springs, and I thought that, the judge. I went in front of the judge. The judge was like, "All right, Lawrence, you're going to prison." I was like, "Oh man!" I thought that was just I thought the Lord was only, I thought like the Lord was only with me for that moment. No, He had a plan. My attorney was like, "Well, can I have a 3 days to talk with Lawrence to see if we get an option for him?" And the judge was like, "All right, I'll give you 3 days." In 2 days, my attorney came talk to me again and was like, "Lawrence, the judge changed her mind. You're not going to prison. They're going to put you back out on probation. So we're going to try our best to hurry up and get you out of here. We're going to take you to court tomorrow talk to the judge. If she says okay, we'll put you back out on probation, and you could go home. I was like, oh, all right, cool. So I go to court the next day. The judge was like, all right, Lawrence, we're going to give you one more chance, and just do good. And Pueblo will be coming to get you in 10 days. I was like, oh, all right. So I'm done here, though. Yeah, you're done here. You're already on probation, and bye. Boom. So I went to my cell. I'm telling everybody what happened, and that's when I got this Bible right here. When I was in jail, I got this Bible that I use right here each and every day for the last 4.5 years that I have been clean and sober. This is my sword. I bought this sword for $10 worth of phone time and 10 soups. And this has been on my Bible ever since. I have not ever used another Bible. I don't even look at another Bible because this is my sword. This is what I use, and this has always been with me. It was brand new when he got it, because he got it from a pastor who came and brought it to him and everything. And the pastor brought it to him. He immediately gave it to me without even like holding on to it for a day himself. The Bible went from the pastor's hand to his hand to my hand within like 5 minutes. Boom. And this has been mine. The date's even written on here, January 3rd, 2020. So I've had this Bible for a long time, and this has been my sword. And when I was in Arapahoe, I got these. They're a cross that you wear on your finger. When the chaplain came and gave these to me, the sticker on them said from Jerusalem. It might have been Bethlehem, but either way, it's from So I wear them all the time, each and every day when I read, and when I go through a trial, I remember where I was when I had nothing, when I had no hope, when I had nobody there was nobody there. The Lord was there for me. So between this and this, I was ready to go. I finished on my time there in Colorado Springs, and then for some reason, the Colorado Springs said that Pueblo wasn't going to come in and pick me up. That they were going to let me go from there, right there. So I called my mom. I was like, Mom, the Springs said that they said I could go home. So come up here. So I called my mom, and I'm getting downstairs to the thing. I'm changing out of my clothes, and at that moment, Pueblo finally called and said, "Oh wait, we're going to go pick him up." So they couldn't release me. I was getting ready to get released. And they were like, all right, well, you can't go home. So I was like, oh, man. So I went back upstairs, and everybody was like, oh, bro, what happened? I thought they said you go home. I was like, I'm gonna stay here for 3 more days. Let's pour up some drinks. Let's pour up some, we were hanging out for 3 more days. And then finally, they came and picked me up. And you're not supposed to take snacks with you from a different county to a different county. But when the Pueblo came for me, they already know me, because I've been in jail so many times. The guards were cool with me. They were like, Lawrence, just grab your snacks. Let's go. Don't even worry about it. So when I came back here, I had snacks that Pueblo County don't even got. So when everybody was like, dang, you brought in some cool snacks. So I had all these cool snacks and everything, and I had my Bible and my my things, and everybody was just amazed that I made it through all this stuff and got back to them. And like a lot of my friends were in there, so it was like a big old thing. Everybody was like, oh heck yeah, it was like, and so we all just kind of got along. And in each county I brought my cash with me, so I had some money when I got here. And here on Friday nights, you could order a pizza and hot wings in there. So I'd order on Friday, we get it on Sunday. So on a Sunday, we were in there eating pizza, hot wings. We were watching the games, basketball, whatever was on that night, whatever. And I stood in there for another 3 months because I was trying to beat a case that I didn't do. I was taking it to trial and stuff. I was still in there for another 3 months. But for the 3 months I was in there, I didn't feel like all that stress and everything that was on me. It was gone, and I was just... It was like chilling with friends outside. We were hanging out. We were in there, incarcerated, but we were still like friends and hanging out and stuff and doing our thing and but like everybody knew that I was changed because when I was there the first time they seen the pain and the hate and all the depression and the shame that I had on me. And when I came back 6 months later, they were like, because the same guys that were in there when I first went in there were still in there when I got back, and they were like, bro, you changed and all this stuff. I was like, bro, I found God while I was up in there in the rabbit hole. And they were like, you found God? I was like, yeah. I was like, our God found me. I was like, either way, you know. So they were like, oh, well, I was telling them all this stuff and telling them about the wine thing. And they were just like, for real? For real? Like, yeah, bro. And they were just, everybody was just blown away. And I started making friends again in there and everything. And I started, you know, and everything. And like, the love just was where, the love came with me through all this stuff that I was going through. And yes, I was still in jail and it's this and that, but I was singing and we were hanging out and this, just like Paul and Silas were still bound and chained, but they were still giving praise to the Lord no matter what, you know. That's what I was, you know. That's what I was, you know, and that's how I was, you know. The shampoo and everything is different in every county and stuff. So when I was here, you get like a bigger bottle of shampoo, and it was just bigger, nicer, fancier and stuff. So I would get ready every morning, get up, I'd make my drink, my cup of coffee. I'd go in the shower and I'd be in there and singing and drinking my coffee and in there and just doing my thing. I get out, combing my hair and getting all spiffed up, and like the people were just around me, just were just amazed at like how I was carrying myself. You know, even though I was still in there. Everybody was like, Lawrence, you don't have nothing to be happy. Why are you so happy? I was like, because I got God with me now, bro. I'm telling you. And they were just amazed at how I was acting, you know, and like because I was saved in a place where most people's faith and things are broken, you know? Mm-hmm. My faith was built from the pit up, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's why I always just, I've always been the same way. Since that night that I was saved in Arapahoe, I've always been this person that I am right here, right now. So I was just, you know, I was in there doing my thing, and my attorney finally came up to me. It's been already 3 months. I was probably like one of the only few people to be incarcerated and on probation at the same time, because most people are out, you know, and I was in there already on 3 months on probation while still incarcerated. My probation would come in and check on me like a probation officer is supposed to do, and the probation officer and then my attorney finally had a talk. They're like, well, let's see what we could do to finally get him out. He seemed like he's changed. He seemed like he's doing good. Let's try to get him out. So my attorney came, and I was on there for a case that I didn't even do. I had a car registered in my name for my stepson, and my stepson wrecked it badly. He got into a bad wreck with the bus, with the bus, and he ran from the scene. And since the car was in my name, I got in trouble for it. And I was trying to fight the case the whole time I was in jail for like a year almost, because the last time I went, I was in there for almost a year. And I was trying to fight the case the whole time. And my attorney said, well, Lawrence, if you could continue to fight this case from the evidence we gathered, and because your name's on it, you are going to get in trouble. You're going to do the time, and you're going to stay here even longer. And I was like, man. Or you could just plead guilty to this, and we could have you out in 3 days. I was like, in 3 days? This whole time I've been sitting in here, you better come with this to me right now. And she was like, I tried. Right now, this is the offer. You plead guilty to this case, you'll be out in 3 days. I was like out, like outside out. And she's like, yes, outside out. Yes, Lawrence, you will be out. I was like, all right. So I said yes, that I did it. And the judge approved it. 3 days later, I was finally going home. Wow. And it's been almost a year. Almost a year. Through a struggle, through a fight, I got saved, this and that. I was finally getting out. I couldn't believe it. I was like, because for almost a year, this is the life that I was staying in, you know. So when I finally got out, I was crying, and and like I didn't know how to to uh, to cope with what was going on. I was like, oh man, I was excited. I was worried. I didn't know if my parents were gonna say if I could come home or not, and everything. And I even keep these things when I first started to write to the Lord. You know, I'll keep these little just like little brief little sentences, things like that. You know, like so you know, real quick and easy. It says. Um, It says, thank you, Father. Please, let me walk out those doors and not return. And I'll do good. I love you, Father. I trust you in Jesus' name. And just by simple little things like that is how I began to develop a prayer study for myself. By reading the Word of God, doing a study, and I always keep these on me to remember how far I come. How far I come. And when I got out finally, I finally got out here downtown, and just the pressure, just the relief that I felt. There's nothing like that relief of being out like that. Like that's like the amazingest feeling a person can have. You're like, oh man, I finally got through all this stuff, you know. But then I had all this court stuff I had to still do good for. I had to make sure I went to probation. I had to go take UAs. I had to go do this. I had to go do that for Colorado Springs and for here and for this and for that. But they combined both of my things into one probation here in town because I didn't have a car or anything, and because of my stepson, because my stepson was the thing with the bus, I lost my driver's license. So that's why I barely got my driver's license back in 2023, and but for the very first day I got out, I've always prayed, Lord, please, I will do good this time with my driver's license. I won't let nobody take advantage of me. I'll do good. And for all that time, I kept praying to it. I never stopped asking him. And all throughout the years, I've been clean now for 4.5 years. I've been clean now for 4.5 years. And I count it every month, around like the 5th or the 6th of every month. And I have been clean this whole time, and I've never felt the way I feel right here, right now. I feel so good that I was able to shake the drugs off, shake the people that were getting me into bad stuff. When I got out, I didn't talk to nobody. For the very first night, I started to pray in my mom's back room, and that's always been my prayer room. My mom and them were all freaking out at me like, what's Lawrence doing back there? But they would come and see me, and I would see me there on my hands and knees, praying and just going ham for the Lord. I was praying, and every morning, every night, when I go back there, my parents know that I'm back there giving praise to the Lord. I'm doing good, and and that's how I've always been. And that's the way I've always prayed. Always pray in the morning, always pray at night, and always stay in that same sink. I always stay in that same sink, and I just and that's how I've always been. Like say if I gotta be somewhere, I always wake up. Like say if I gotta be at church or something, or to an event or something by like 9, I wake up 3 hours before. I wake up 3 hours before so I can shower real quick, and I get my time in with the Lord, finish up, get ready, and get to where I have to get to. I always need that 3-hour time period so I can make sure I get everything in and my time in with the Lord before I go do anything. Before I walk out the door, I always got to make sure I get my time in with the Lord, because that is what's most important between my Father and me, the Lord Jesus Christ. And that's the way and that's what I do, day in and day out. For the last 4.5 years, I always put the Lord first, and He has not ever once failed me on my journey thus far. And I've been so happy to have his help every day, and every day every day before my feet hit the ground, I tell him thank you, I give him praise, and just I'm so glad that he has pulled me through all the things, that he has pulled me through all that pain, all the trials, all the stuff that I have been through, and and each and every year since I've been giving him all my time, he makes every year better and better, and I accomplish more and more and more. And each year, it's just my mind is blown. My mind is blown every year. 2023 was the best year I have ever had in my whole life, ever. I accomplished so much. I got so much done. I served in so much around the church and everything, And in 2020, when I first started to come, or 2021, when I first started to come to this church, the three first people I met was Miss Jerry, Pastor Steve, and I think her name was Miss Lisa. I talked to her on the phone. She told me to come on down and everything. I walked in these doors, and I've never walked out. This is my home. You guys are my brothers and my sisters, and I am so thankful to have you guys in my life. And I see how the Lord has brought me to a good family, to a good church, and I'm so grateful, and I'm thankful for all the help that I get from around the people that the Lord has brought into my life. The Lord has made room for people who truly want to see me do good. In the last 4 years, I had more people tell me that they're proud of me than ever in my whole life, and it feels so good to have that love and that strength, from the people around me that want to see me do good, I accomplished so much, and now I'm even trying to, for this, going into 2024, I'm going into 24 a brand new man. I want to try to further my education, and I got a few opportunities lined up that I want to get done. So I'm very grateful and very thankful for what the Lord has done for me in my life, and the best is yet to come. I if the Lord wanted me dead, I would have been dead a long time ago. And the Lord had a plan. The Lord had a plan from the very first start of my life. Like He said, He puts you together. The Lord knew me before I was in my mother's womb. So, like the stuff I know now, I wish I would have learned 15 years ago, because it would have really, my life would have turned out way better if I didn't let my pride get in the way, and all the drugs and everything get in my way. My life would have turned out way better, but because of all my bad, things that I've done and everything, I had to learn the hard way, and I don't want anybody else to have to go through that, It's better that you learn young so that you can better yourself in life, But when He came out of me that day, and He crawled over the wall, I was very grateful. I was very thankful that was gone from me. How He attached Himself to me all these years and just tried in every which way He could to bring me down and destroy my life and take everything from me. It was hard. Yeah. But what the Lord did in my life, like He has changed me so much, and the Lord gets all the praise. He deserves all the praise, all the glory, all the love, all my heart. And there's so many things of the Bible that I can relate to of my own life, like Job. Job lost everything in his life. Job lost everything in his life, his kids, his life, health, everything. And that's how it was with me. And that's how it was with my life. I lost everything. But now, because of my integrity, He is restoring me to double what I lost. He is showing me His glory day after day, that that He has a plan on my life, and, and I was like Paul. I was on my way to go do bad stuff, and boom, I saw the light, and my life was changed forever. I was like the apostles. I had no school knowledge. I had no knowledge of this or that, but boom. By the way I talk, that I have walked with the Lord Jesus Christ, and my love for the Lord is so powerful. Like I was trying to be a man after God's own heart before I knew that there was a man after God's own heart. I had to learn how to forgive and not take a revenge for the things that I have done in life. And because of my speech, because of my speech, I felt unworthy to follow the Lord, like how Moses was. He kept telling the Lord, "No, Lord, I don't know if I can. Why don't you find somebody else?" All this, He kept, and the Lord said, "No, I want I want to use you. So no matter what age, no matter what I have done, no matter what I think the Lord could always put you to use for Him to do something good, to accomplish great things, and accomplishing great things is what I plan to do. And that's what my plan is each and every day, to do better than I did the day before.